Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World Blitz Scrabble Championship. Today is Saturday, March 20th, 2021. It is 1 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, but it is still 6 p.m. back on the west coast of the U.S., where I'm coming at you. My name is Evans Clinchy. Happy to have you with us for this broadcast. This is a very important night for one group in particular in this tournament. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's go into the schedule right now and take a look. This is the Buffalo group we're going to show you tonight. This is four players at the top of their group. Edward Okulicz, Amit Chakrabarti, Chris May, and Brian Bowman all doing battle. We're going to have Edward versus Amit first, followed by Chris and Brian after that. Now, for some context to explain why these matchups are so important, let's look at the standings in this group. These are the four guys on top of the group. We got Edward at 7-0, Chris at 7-0, Brian at 6-1, and Amit at 5-2. So tonight you're going to have the first and fourth players in the group, Ed and Amit, against playing each other first, and then Chris and Brian, the second and third players, playing each other after that. What this means is, if Edward and Chris both win, it's over. They're in the playoffs, done deal, guaranteed. If one of them loses, things get very, very interesting. Especially, I might add, if Brian were to beat Chris. That's where things get super interesting, because Brian would then pass Chris in the standings, move into second place, and be almost a lock to make the playoffs. So for Chris May, who is undefeated throughout the tournament so far, it is a pivotal night. He's got to win again. He's got to go to 8-0 to stay in the top two. It is a very competitive group, and unfortunately, two guys are going to be very disappointed tonight because only two can win, and two are going to take some really tough losses. All right, without any further ado, I should go to the board. We're going to have Edward versus Amit in just a moment. Let me check out the Wiggles chat room. It looks like Wiggles is showing me that Ed and Amit are ready to begin. So let's begin the match between Ed and Amit right now. So we are getting started now with Amit Chakrabarti, Marvin, at the top of your screen, and then Taki is Edward Okulicz, and it looks like an early lead for Amit over Ed in game one. About a 100-point lead already as Alligated and Meteor, a couple of big bingos, and then handoff for 87 for Amit, giving him the lead. So we're underway, and already Amit Chakrabarti in good shape so far, looking to score an upset over Edward, who is in first place in the entire tournament. This has been one of the most brutally difficult groups in the tournament. Just four incredibly strong players with Ed, Chris, Amit, and Brian all just dominating. The only matches these guys have lost have been against each other. Really, the only matches that have been even close for these guys have been against each other. If they play anybody else, they win basically 9-0 or 8-1 every single time. So these are the final 2 weeks of the season here in BlitzChamps, and the last two for Amit, I believe, are Ed now and then a lower seed next week. Edward has Amit now and Chris next week. Chris has the toughest schedule of all. Chris has to play Brian followed by Ed, and then Brian has Chris this week and a lower seed next week. So very important for Edward and Chris to get these wins, because it's going to be a tough schedule next week as they play each other. Wow, that is some interesting. I'm not sure if that's copy pasta or like an actual bit of analysis there from physics, but let's see. Historical index. Okay, that's good to know. In any event, it looks like a very solid start to this game for Amit Chakrabarti. Amit is up by 77 points about midway through this game, and so far things have been going well for him. It is Amit on turn with 40 tiles in the bag. He's going to keep scoring well. White is 30 points, and looks like a good rack here for Edward. He's got mating plus a blank. There are some places to bingo, of course. Berg takes hooks. You could do something like masting here, or you could do M-mating underneath handoff for a nice score, 77 there. So a pretty close game right now with Amit now up by 30 points, 288 to 258 over Ed. Hope you guys are all having a good Friday evening / Saturday morning. I think, Colin, in your case, it's just barely Saturday morning, right? It's like 1 a.m. where you are. I'm not sure if you ever sleep, Colin. It seems like you don't. So, interesting situation here. There's an open triple-triple, and I'm not sure if Amit has a very good word to block that triple-triple. He's got the J and the Z. He would love to score well with those tiles, but how do you do that and block? Okay, you play Zin. That's how you do it. Okay. So Zin for 32. Basically now Amit is up by a bingo, and it's going to be hard for Ed to get that bingo, at least right now. Kind of a clunky rack. He's got 3 R's and a V. He plays Raven, keeping RR as his leave. We're going to see Amit continue scoring for sure. The J is going to give him some easy points. He could just do something like Jane. He does play Jane, exactly. 44 points for Jane. So Marvin still up by a bingo. But there is your bingo. Drosera for 74, and we got ourselves a game here. 12-point lead for Amit with 11 tiles in the bag. This could go either way. And Vinka is a good scoring play from Amit, putting him up by 41, and a rough draw for Ed. Too many vowels. He's going to play through it, though. Pre for 27, keeping this thing close, down by 14. 3 tiles in the bag. Porkies is the play from Amit. I'm not sure if that's good. Porkies, is that a word? Okay, it is good. And it looks like Amit will win the game with Porkies. 98-point bingo, and that should do it. So let's chalk up a win in game 1 for Amit Chakrabarti over Edward Okulicz. Yeah, you've got to be pretty confident to be sure of that word. You could lose if you're wrong, but Amit apparently knows it, and it's going to win him this game. My audio is great today. Very good to know. I took you guys' advice and cranked it up like 3 or 4 decibels over last week, and I guess that made the difference. Hey, Jalopnik, how you doing, man? Looks like that is a little bit of a Cockney rhyming slang, I guess. Porky pies are lies. Okay, so 495 to 428 is your victory for Amit in game 1. So a little bit of an upset brewing so far. Ed has been the #1 player in the entire tournament so far. I believe he's won 9-0 or 8-1 pretty much every single match, with the exception of one against Brian where he won by a mere 7-2. So for Amit, it is a big, big win to take game 1 over Ed. We shall see if he keeps it up or not. 8 games still to go, and Edward's got to try to win 5 out of the 8 now. Just another look at those standings. Ed is 57-6 in his first 63 games, and 57-7 now with a loss in his first one, but still just a dominant performance from Edward so far, and he is 1 match away from sealing a spot in the playoffs. It is insane that 7-0 doesn't guarantee him a spot, but it currently doesn't. All right, so let's go back to the board with game 2 getting underway, and it is an opening bingo now from Edward. We'll put him back in a commanding position here, at least for now. Nice copy pasta from Benji and Aaron, both of whom are already in the bracket. Congrats to you guys. Some of us are still 1 match win away, including myself. I am hoping to win tomorrow and lock up my spot. We'll see how that goes. All right, so 98-69, a little bit of a lead for Edward, but Amit scoring well so far early in this one. Splayed, nice play there by Ed, and he's now up by a whopping 131 early on. 102-point bingo with Splayed. Very nice, and it looks like a commanding position for Ed. Not only has Ed been one of the best players in this tournament, he's been one of the fastest as well. He has just been blazing quick every single game. You can see he's used 17 seconds so far in this one, and we're like halfway done. That's pretty standard for Ed. Amit very fast as well, and he gets a nice play here with the Valuers for 24 points. But Ed continues to score and continues to play very fast. So a commanding spot right now for Mr. Okulicz here in game 2. Spam this bread to help bald head. Okay, Benji, sure. That's the sentence. Wow, bio waste. Another 100-point bingo. Ed is just piling it on. He's going to win unless he flags, and I don't think he's going to flag, folks. I just don't think so. 329 to 126, just killing it. So looks like Ed was a little bit angry after game 1, and he is getting all of that anger out. Here we go. Here comes the resign chant in the chat. I love it. Good news for those of you who make the bracket. You guys can resign all you want once you make the bracket, because spread no longer matters. You can resign. You can play only 5 games and go 0-5 and quit. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. So a little bit of comeback here from him. He plays Horius for 86, but still down by over 100. Or sorry, under 100, 97, my bad. And Edward is now in his 2nd minute of his clock, which is amazing. So Virtues for 34. Ed just continues scoring just fine. Up by 131. I'm not encouraging resignation. I'm just saying it's allowed. That's all. I would never encourage such things. All right, so 30 points for Ahi for Edward, who is still doing just fine here. Looking like we're going to be tied up 1-1. And it'll be a best of 7 from here. Amit has been very, very strong, almost as strong as Edward throughout this tournament. He has only 2 match losses, and I think one of them was a forfeit when he couldn't show up for his match. So when Amit actually shows up to play, he is as strong as they come. And he's playing very fast as well. We can see both players use only 2 minutes in this game. Who needs 3? Minute 13 left for Amit, minute 27 for Ed. It is easier to play when you have like obvious bingos like Horiest and obvious J plays like Ja for 52. But even so, impressive to see these guys play this fast. Wow, it is like Olive Garden out there. All you can eat coffee pasta bowl. Just coffee pasta everywhere you look tonight. Hate to see it. All right, so Duff for 27 from Ed, who is still up by over 100, still looking pretty comfortable. And interesting tile pool with both blanks unseen and all sorts of fun stuff. But where are you going to bingo on this board? It's not easy to do. A lot of words that don't take hooks. Can't put anything on Cuxay. Can't put anything on this V to make a 2-letter word here. So just kind of out of options as far as getting a bingo down. Is there anything over top of this B maybe? Probably not. Oh, nice little E-hook of second E. Cool spot by Ed there, leaving one tile in the bag. Minter blank blank, the 8 tiles unseen to Amit right now. What do you do here? I don't think there are any bingos possible. I'm looking from that B for anything that's like spelled B, vowel, vowel, something, and I'm not seeing it. Looks like Edward's on either. He just scores 32 with Ermine, and we're going to have a final score coming up in just a moment. It looks like Ed is going to break 500 unless Amit goes out, which I don't think he can. What do you do here with INNOR blank? Just play kin, I suppose. And your final score is Ed 506, Amit 383, and Ed will even the score 1 game to 1 game with 7 still to play. So interesting so far. Amit comes out very strong in game 1, but Ed comes right back in game 2. 7 games still to go. Another look at the schedule. We're going to have another game from the Buffalo group right after this one. We're going to have Chris May and Brian Bowman with their match, and that is, no exaggeration, the single most important match of the whole tournament so far, because one of those guys will advance to the playoffs and one is probably going to be out after that match. It is pretty much winner take all for the spot. Very important match for Chris and Brian. Don't go anywhere. That's going to be a banger. And then just looking at the whole weekend, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, just look at these matchups. Looking forward to Austin Shin against Enoch Nawali. Looking forward to Piotr and Matthew O'Connor. Looking forward to Chris Grubb and Jackson Smiley. A lot of playoff implications for that one as well. And then I myself am going to be playing against Peter Armstrong tomorrow night. That's going to be fun. Looking forward to all of it. All right, back to the board. Game 3 getting started, and it's another opening bingo. This time Amit has one. It's Vanier for 78 to open for Amit. Let's see if Ed can come back. He's got Z for 45, so a pretty strong response. And let's see here. What do you do if you have the J and a bunch of vowels? You play Gaji for 26, all right? So 1 bingo lead early on for Amit, and now Ed's going to have to try to make something happen here. I'm not seeing a lot of interesting spots for these tiles. There is the K hook for ZE making Zek. Okay, Duke, nice play there, 44. I didn't see that one. Looks like Amit needs an E for portable, and it doesn't quite fit. It would go off the board, making only audible here, which would be sad. All right, Prob for 27. Nice play by Amit to just score and balance. 27 points keeping ALT. And interesting situation now. Scores a little bit closer. Ed's only down by 42. He's been scoring well, but he's got too many vowels on this rack. He plays EH for 28. Okay. And it looks like not a great rack for Amit. There's no bingo, I don't think. You could do something like fail might be a good option here. 28 points for that. Probably going to make kind of a middling play here in the 28-ish point range. I don't think there's anything much better. Okay, he plays fat for 21, keeping that AILR leave. Not super easy to bingo on this board with that leave, or really with any leave, but we'll see what he can do. See, if I'm Ed, I like this rack just fine. Oh, I like it when there's a word like Phoebe's available. I didn't see that one. So Phoebe's for 93 is a very nice play, but Amit comes right back with biracial. Nice bingos from both players. Cool finds, and we got ourselves a fairly close game with Edward down by 23, and he's on turn. What do you do with this X? There's a spot to just play EX. Oh, exempt. Another very cool find. 54 points for that, and the lead now for Ed. Difficult rack, but he's going to play through it. Gov for 31. His leave is DGNN. You're going to need to draw some vowels soon if you're Amit. High score, 264 all. Very close game, and can't quite fit Sialadan. Goes off the board by 1, unfortunately, for Amit. Or for Ed, sorry. I don't think there's any bingo that plays. He just plays laid. 23 for that. And interesting draw. The Q is going to score decently. 28 points for quad, and there's the blank for Ed. Wow. So there were both blanks unseen. Ed draws the first one. There's still a second blank unseen to all of us. Oh, yeah, Guchen would have been better. That would have unloaded your doubled ends and scored a little bit more as well. Yeah, the leave would have been DNS rather than GNNS. Big difference. Nice play by Ed of Ransomer for the lead, and it looks like Amit's going to pay for keeping too many vowels here. He's got way too many vowels now. All 7, or too many consonants, sorry, you know what I meant. So too many consonants here for Amit. Can he play through it at all? I'm not sure. He can play non. 9 points for non. Difficult situation here for Amit for sure. Now by 93 all of a sudden. This game was close, and now it's kind of not. Amit draws very well, though. He draws all vowels, and I don't think he has anything, right? Nothing through the F. Can't fit anything like frailest, flairiest. I don't believe there's a bingo that plays, but there's still 13 in the bag. There's plenty of time to fish for something. I don't think biracials is good. Probably should check that, though. Yeah, no good. Hello to Wanderer. Hope you can get your lag fixed, because, yeah, exempt was a while ago. But glad to see you in the chat. Hope you're having a good evening. So Amit's taking his time here. Satire bingo rack, but doesn't have a spot for it on this board, I don't believe. Maybe he's considering biracials, but it is not a word. There's nothing with an I sticking out of this queue. He plays long. Rather than fish for a bingo, he plays a 31-point play of sail. Interesting choice. It's going to be hard to win without a bingo, though. And I don't think he's drawn anything here. In Clabbers, he would have literacy with that L, but ending in the L, you got nothing. All right, Yeti for 29. It looks like Amit is sunk here. There's just no way to get a bingo down on this board, I don't think. So, yeah, this looks tough now for Amit. He needs to bingo, and he's not really creating much of an opening for himself to bingo into. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with you guys in the chat. It looks like some of you guys are doing okay with the lag, and others are not. Oh, Sterical pointed out by physics. That's true. Sterical does play if you leave the W in the bag. And, okay, he didn't leave the W in the bag anyway, and Sterical got blocked. Nice job by Ed, though, blocking bingos just in case the W was in the bag. And it looks like now there's just nothing to be done. So Amit, I think he had his chances, but it would have been a really tough endgame to solve, because you got to open a bingo for yourself, and it's just a tricky board. Yeah, Twistgar is a word, but of course no spot for that on this board whatsoever. Yeah, I think the unseen title pool was Twistgar blank. So I'm sure Ed knows. Don't open a spot for Twistgar when your opponent's got Twistgar blank. All right, so Amit is taking his time here, but I don't think he's going to find anything. There just isn't much to be done. Whist for 29 is not anywhere near enough. All right, final score is 452-396, and Ed gets his second win in a row. He's now 2-1 in the match, back out in front. 6 games to go. If Ed can win just 3 out of the 6, then he's going to lock up a spot in the playoffs. Another look at the standings here. If Ed gets this win, he's going to be 8-0 with just a pretty immaculate spread. He's going to have at least 62 game wins if he wins his match, and I don't think he's going to be caught by both Chris and Brian. So pretty much a lock that Ed's going to make the playoffs if he wins this match. But then as for Chris May and Brian Bowman, they play each other coming up next, and the loser of that match is probably going to be out, which would be pretty disappointing for Chris May to go undefeated until week 8 and then just get knocked out by one match loss, but that is exactly what could happen. So there is just a ton at stake for Chris May tonight. Don't go anywhere. We're going to watch Chris versus Brian after this, and it's going to be a very, very important match for both players. So waiting on Amit and Ed to re-begin their match. We're going to have Game 4 coming up. Looks like they're taking a short break, but they'll be back pretty soon, I would imagine. Looking at the schedule again, on this channel tomorrow night, you're going to have myself, Evans Clinchy, against Pete Armstrong. That is at 2 a.m. GMT, which is 7 p.m. Pacific time, local time for myself and Pete. And then after that, it's going to be Conrad versus Jacob Teitelbaum. Going to be a lot of fun watching those 2 matches, I'm sure. And then, I'm doing a triple header. I forgot. That's right. So it's going to be me and Pete, Conrad and Jacob, and then Andrew Fisher and Hubert Wee, another very, very exciting match in the Giraffe group. Looking forward to streaming Andrew and Hubert as well. And then after that, we're going to watch Wave and Toe and Anand Bardwaj. So just a just action-packed Saturday night / Sunday morning as just 4 very important matches back to back to back to back coming up. It's going to be just an incredible day of Scrabble. Really looking forward to all of it. Going to be great. All right, not sure what is keeping Edward and Amit. Looks like they are still not resuming their match. Just going to check and make sure that I'm not missing anything. No, they are still not playing their Game 4. So guessing there is a short water break or bathroom break or something, and we will resume when we can. But for now, we'll just kind of sit around and wait. Hey, Wabin, how you doing, man? Hope you're having a good Saturday morning. Looking forward to watching Wabin versus Anand tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Colin has his life savings on Wabin to win. Wow, no pressure at all for Wabin. I have my life savings on you too, but I've saved very little money, so it really means nothing at all. I bet like $8. All right, so I'm not sure what's going on with Amit and Ed. It looks like both players are still present in the Woodles tournament room, so they didn't get disconnected or anything. Okay, they are now back. Let's go to the board with game number 4 getting started now. Okay, so game 4, it is Ed going first, and it's another opening bingo. 68 points for sitting, a very nice find by Ed Okulicz. And he played it in 3 seconds flat. So both players playing very fast and both players opening with bingos quite often so far in this match. It is Ed this time with the opening bingo, and we'll see if Amit can come back. He's down 79-32 so far, and looks like there's an easy F scoring spot here for Ed to get foo or something. I see a mention of Tinker Toy in the chat. I believe Tinker Toy was played by somebody earlier in this tournament. I can't remember who. But yeah, very cool bingo that somebody came up with. All right, foo is the play by Edward, and here is an almost certain bingo for Amit. He's got clothes plus a blank. I would expect clothes or something like that. Oh, Lucius, nice play. Lucius for 82. All right, retiles for Edward, who plays the bingo and then retiles his rack afterward. Sorry for the terrible pun. All right, 74 points for that, and now Amit down by a bingo again. Aye for 21 points. So Amit is down by a bingo, trying to draw a better rack than that Y plus 6 vowels, but having some trouble drawing here. Interesting rack now for Amit. He's got the X. Is there a way to score pretty well with it here? Not seeing anything amazing. You could just play something like Axe. Axe here is interesting, 39 points for that. But as far as bingoing, it's going to be tough. All right, he plays lax, just going for more points, 48, but his leave is IU. We'll see what he can do with a leave of IU. He's down by 43, and it's Edward on turn. Venal, nice play, 32 points. Doesn't take hooks either, so it's pretty strong defensively. But the Z is going to be a nice scoring tile for Amit. 52 points for Zep, and Amit is coming back without a bingo. He was down a bingo, now he's down by 23, making this pretty close. Ed has been blazing fast as usual. He plays Hom within about 12 seconds. That's actually a pretty slow turn for him, actually. So Ed's got over 2 minutes on his clock still, which has been pretty typical for him throughout this tournament. And he's got a 60-point lead. People are comparing the word knowledges of Will Anderson and Harry Wiggins. Okay, interesting. All right, so what do you do here if you're Amit? Interesting rack. You got to kind of find a way to balance it. Yeah, Thug for 21. Okay, keeping APIS. And, ooh, I don't think there's any bingo here. He would need a P for apepsias, which he doesn't quite have in open space. Apps, though, is another nice scoring play. So Amit is just like, who needs bingos? I'm going to score 40 points all the time. 41 for apps, and wow, he's got sardine and no spot for that. We saw Amit last game just try and come back without bingoing. He might try and do that again. He could play something like Denari and Faded and just score 42, keeping his S. That's a pretty interesting option. He is down by 45. This would almost tie the game. Amit getting pretty low on time. He's got 10 seconds plus the 1 minute overtime. Ed's got a minute 51, which is just standard Ed for you. Clock ticking away still. Yeah, no spot for Islander, as Colin notes in the chat. Yeah, he does play Denari. Nice play by Amit, I think. And Endiron now has no spot for Ed, so both players with these unplayable bingos. And it's going to come down to who can score on a difficult board the best. Yeah, Don is only 14 points, but on a rapidly closing board, every 14 points matters. It's going to be hard to score much more than that from here on out, I think. There are two A's. You might want to fish for Basij. Yeah, he plays Motor, keeping the B, I, and S. He might hit Basij into the J here up top. If he hits that, it's going to be a game changer. Yeah, it's pointed out that OD could play in the corner here, making Orad. Yeah, there's just not a lot of scoring spots on this board, and whoever can find the best ways to score is going to pull ahead here in a close game. So Oop is only 6 for Ed, who's keeping the board close. He's up by 16. Kin opens an S spot, and we happen to know that the case S does belong to Amit, so that's an interesting play. But Kin also takes an A for a Kin. You could get hit there. We'll see if Ed has anything making a Kin that he wants to play. I mean, he could do where, like just WAIR here. That would score 22, putting him up by 22 because it's a tie score right now. But it would open the board and it would make things really interesting. Wow, neuromotor? Are you serious? That is insane. All right, he does play way, keeping EINR. And there is 1A on scene, so that might be able to be drawn by Amit for Basij, but otherwise he's going to have to find some other way to score in this endgame. He's down by 20, very low on time, 12 seconds till he loses the game. All right, Brig for 34, nice play, and Tranny is the bingo for Ed, and that should do it. 480 to 396, Ed bingo's out for the victory. Wow. Very close game, but in the end, Ed gets the knockout punch. And that is the third win in a row for Ed Okulicz, making it 3-1 in Ed's favor. We got 4 games down, 5 to go, and Amit must win 4 out of the 5 to take this match. It's going to be very tough for him. So Edward Okulicz has been dominant throughout this tournament, and so far his solid run continues. He was 57-6 to begin the evening. He is now 60-7. He is the first player to get to 60 wins, I believe. Actually, Will might have 60 wins. Does Will have 60 wins? Will's record is 62-10. I take it back. He's not the first to get to 60. But in any event, a very impressive run for Mr. Okulicz. 60-7 in his first 67 games. Just incredible. All right, back to the board. Game 5 starts now, and it is, for once, not an opening bingo. Woken keeping a leave of UY is the play by Amit Chakrabarti here. Yeah, Woken, not wonky, says Mr. Eldar there. Yeah, looks like Woken setting up a little bit of a spot for your U to score some. Looks pretty solid. I see Munch here as a pretty solid option through that C and coercion. That would score quite a bit for Amit. Munchy, not sure if that one's good. I don't think Munch takes a Y. Huh. It is let go. Hey bot, define Munchy. Oh, it's good. Okay, I'm wrong. Munchy's fine. All right, so 48 points for that, and then 48 for Joy, coming right back from Edward. So both players scoring very well, and looks like Splurted is the bingo here for Amit. Is there anything else besides Splurted? Anagram. Oh, Duplets? Is that a word? Duplets. Okay, nice find. 73 for that. All sorts of stuff I don't know. Duplets. And that'll put Amit in the lead now. I see Leftover as the bingo available now for Amit. I imagine if he can find duplets, he can find Leftover, and he does. Not overfelt. So I think it's just Leftover. Yeah, just Leftover. All right, so a nice lead for Amit here in a very important game for him. He doesn't want to fall behind 4-1. And we'll see if Ed can come back, but he's down by 80 and having some trouble drawing a balanced rack to bingo with anytime so far. We'll see if he can turn that around. The trolling continues as everybody just has overfelt. I love you guys. All right, so Ed does get a bingo with Ernest. He played kept keeping EERT, and he drew a perfect rack to draw into Ernest. So we got a close game now with Amit up by 19 points and still a long way to go. Air holes, wow, it does fit through the R, just barely, and that is another bingo for Amit. He's up by 80. What do you do now? You've got a Z. I'm not seeing like a huge Z bomb, but okay, Zoya is 46, not bad at all. Ed's keeping this pretty close, and Amit is drawn not very well. He's got all vowels to go with the X. He does have the X bomb of XI underneath Ernest, but he's going to have a terrible leave. Well, he plays Axe, but terrible leave either way. And you might have to exchange next turn. He's keeping A, E, I, U, U. So probably you're going to have 2 turns here if you're Edward to come back. 30 points for Avid, and maybe not an exchange. He does get 1 consonant, Amit does. He gets the B, but I don't know if he wants to play through this. Amit's got a 56-point lead. He can exchange and still be ahead unless his opponent bingos. Wow, he plays Bow. Okay, he's going to play through it, keeping EIU, scoring only 18. And Towages, or Stowage, will play. 90 points for Stowage and the lead for Edward. The blank, though, drawn by Amit, and he's got 8 in the bag. He doesn't need to bingo this turn, but he can bingo. He's got Inquire. Let's see here. Uridine, also a word. Nice spot there by Physics. So you've got some options here. This match is going to get interesting. It's going to get likely 3-2 if Amit can pull this out. The vague excitement, says Eldar. It's more than vague excitement. It's real excitement. All right, Unifier for 71. Nice play, and we got 1 tile in the bag. Is there anything that I can fish for? I doubt it, but he's going to have some time to look. 1.5 minutes on his clock. And if there's a creative way to open up a bingo and fish for something, I don't see it. Especially because your opponent might have something himself. I guess you got to play for that case where the blank is in the bag. Oh, so that actually fishes for Mottlier if the blank is in the bag. A nice idea, but the blank is unfortunately for him on Amit's rack. So you don't even need to bingo here if you're Amit, but you might have one. I don't think there's anything through that U. All right, he's just going to play fairing, and that is fine. He is up by more than enough. Torminal does not fit. It makes Twoken, which I don't believe is a word, right? Torminal and Twoken. Yeah, don't think that's good. Looking like a win here for Amit in game 5. Looking like it's going to be 3-2. Ed is taking his time, but I don't think there's anything there to be found. And even if there is, he's down by 98 points. Oh, Ordalium. Is that a word, Ordalium? That actually sounds like a word. So maybe he should have fished the T and tried to draw Ordalium. That's a very interesting idea. Can you play it and then fish for Milords or Ordalium? No, Milords wouldn't play. You can play Bet. I don't know. In any event, Amit gets the win 5-17, 4-35, and he narrows the match a little bit. It was 3-1, and now it is 3-2 in Ed's favor. It's a little bit closer. So this match could get really interesting if Amit wins Game 6. If you're just joining us, you are catching 3/4 of a doubleheader here. You're going to have the rest of this match between Ed and Amit, followed by Chris May and Brian Bowman, the most important match of the whole tournament so far, I would say. The winner of that match is probably going to the playoffs, and the loser is probably going home. A just crucial match for both players, and it's really a shame that one of them's got to get knocked out because they've had spectacular tournaments, both of them. So really looking forward to Chris versus Brian coming up next. But first, we're going to have Ed and Amit, and we're going back to the board now for game number 6. And it looks like another opening rack bingo, as Larning this time is played by Ed. 68 points for that. And or it'll be Amit's turn to play from behind. Amit's got some interesting words here, like I see Wiltja or Wilja. Yeah, he plays Wilja for 31. So it's going to be an early deficit here for Amit, but he has drawn a very good rack. He will almost certainly bingo. I think thirster is a word, but I'm not sure. Who likes thirster? Yeah, so thirster is an option into the R. Probably other choices as well. Amit is taking his time here. I could imagine that he's seeing thirster and not sure of it and trying to find a word that he's more sure of, which is definitely worth taking the time to look for. He just plays hitters, okay. So a little bit of a mistake there, but he does get a bingo down. 66 points for that, and the X for Edward is looking interesting. He's got a way to play, what does he have? Taxi, okay. Taxi for 38 looks pretty strong, keeping a leave of INU. And, oh yeah, truthier is also a word. Good call. Yeah, truthier would have been a nice bingo option. All right, so an exchange after a bad draw for Ed, and that's going to give another turn to Amit, who is only down by a little bit. I see derailer now into the R, and if he can find derailer, it's going to be a pretty good position for Amit, up by a bingo. And he does find it. 80 points for derailer, and 73-point deficit for Ed. He's got still a long way to go in this game. He plays Fawn for 26, keeping a pretty good balanced leave, G-E-N-O. We'll see what he can draw. There is an open I, so those ING possibilities are out there. So definitely some options here for Ed to come back. I see improv as one way to kill that I, though. If Amit wants to play that, it would be a pretty good score and balancing play for him. Oh, provoke. Yeah, that's a good play. Didn't see provoke. Yeah, provoke looks like a very strong option. From 2B, you would score 36. All right, improv instead. And the Z is a very interesting tile here for Ed. He's down by a lot. And I don't see a fantastic Z play. I mean, he's got like Gyoza, stuff like that. Oh yeah, improv takes the E hook. That's a very good point. Probably not a great idea to open the E hook when you are up by a bingo. That's a really easy way to bingo for a lot of points. You could also just play something like Oye and score 50. So definitely some options here for Ed. Let's see here. Is there anything better than Oye for 50? Probably not, but we'll see if I can find it. We'll see if there's anything else he can find. He just plays Gay for 34, keeping that Z. Ooh, Beakier, nice play. And what do we have here? Not sure what you should do with this Z now. You could try fishing for Assay. No, okay, you can just play Zone for 56. That looks fine. Zone for 56, keeping ESS, a pretty good leave. Close game now. Ed's been scoring well, 34 and then 56, and he is back in this thing. Ooh, Zygo, very nice. High scoring play from Amit, and Ed dumps the cue for 31. So 37 points up now is Amit. Still a long way to go. 24 in the bag. Eldar seems very eager to see this game end, but the fact is it is not over. Well, it's a little closer to over now. Okay, 78 points for the bingo there. A Tour D is going to make this tough to win for Ed, down by over 100. Okay, you were right. It is over, most likely. Could still bingo twice. This is definitely not a resign gang position at all. No, no, no. You can bingo twice. There's still 17 in the bag. You can even bingo once and win this game. 51 points per scum followed by bingo. I mean, he could do this. Idealizes plays. Yeah, nice spot by Benji. Idealizes through the D and the S. That is the play. Oh, sad. All right, so 14 points for Iliak, and looks like Pounced did not go anywhere, but Ed's going to open up another bingo lane. Sheaf is a nice scoring play for Amit, putting him up by 110, and I don't think Ed's got it. All right, so I contend that this game was not over, but now it is. Looks like no spot for Unsuit either, and just some bookkeeping now to get the final score. All right, so lots of discussion of nines finding and resigning and me being sexy, all sorts of fun conversation. And your final score is going to be Amit 489, Ed 374. Amit gets back-to-back wins in games 5 and 6, and he ties up the match. We are all tied up 3-3. It is a best of 3 from here to decide the match. And Amit Chakrabarti is very much alive. Very interesting stuff now. This looking like it was going to be a pretty easy match for Ed, and then Amit comes right back. He is tied up 3-3. So this is going to be a close match, it looks like. A reminder that after this, we're going to have another interesting match coming up afterward. We're going to have Chris May and Brian Bowman right after this, and it is a very, very important match for the Buffalo Group standings. Chris and Brian both on the brink of making the playoffs, but they're also both on the brink of elimination from the playoffs. It is really a do-or-die moment for both players, and we'll have that match coming up next. Chris versus Brian. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be a banger right here on twitch.tv/CocoScrabble. Looking forward to all of it. Looking forward to Chris versus Brian. Looking forward to a loaded Saturday coming up. Just all sorts of fun matches coming up tomorrow. Can't wait for Pyotr Adranowski and Matthew O'Connor on Matthew's channel, 64-Bit Scrabble. Looking forward to a Benji versus Ricky match that doesn't matter anymore because Benji made the playoffs already. Looking forward to myself against Peter Armstrong, Conrad against Jacob, Andrew against Hubert, Wei Bin against Anandi, and it's just all sorts of fun stuff all day long. Can't wait for tomorrow. It's going to be great. But another look at the standings in this group. This is a very, very top-heavy group with 4 players at the top who are just duking it out, and we're going to see all 4 of them tonight. It is Amit versus Ed now, and it's Chris versus Brian after this. All right, back to the board. We've got Game 7 getting underway, and it is, for once, not an opening rack bingo. Haji for 34 from Ed, and he leads 34-14 with Amit now on turn. So what do you do here? Oh, besides make the board crash. Sorry about that. Let me turn the scoreboard back on. Whoop. Sorry about that. Okay. So what you missed was a bingo from Ed for 74. Flatter for 74 gives Ed the lead, 108-30. A pivotal game 7 here, and we'll see if Amit can come back. Difficult situation for sure. EE for 11, just a short play from Ed now. He's got too many vowels. And, ooh, I see Lastborn as an option here through that A. What else is playable here as a bingo for Amit? He does find Lastborn. Very nice. 72 points for Lastborn. And I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, inertia is a word. Nice find by Ed. And Ed remains up by a bingo. Notabler. That would be one of the notablest phonies I've ever seen. Ooh, Mikado. Very nice find by Benji. Yeah, it looks like Mikado is a very strong option here. That'd be 57 points. And it looks like it's pretty clearly the best play if you can find it. I don't think there's anything better. Ooh, and it is found indeed. Nice play by Amit, and that's going to make it a close game. Ed's up by 14 now. Guess the probability. Who knows the probability of sixes? What are you doing, man? Nobody's going to guess that. Wow, 31,000. All right, so close game here. 40 points is the deficit now for Amit, but it's Amit's turn. And he's got almost a bingo, but not quite, it looks like. Yeah, Loveware, there you go. Loveware or Overwhale. These are not words. I think Walliver is a beer brewery, right? Define Walliver. Well, the bot can't do that because it's not a Scrabble word. But anyway, Wave for 29 and then Ed bingos. So Ed's up by 100 now. Pretty nice position for Ed. After losing 2 in a row, he's come right back here in Game 7. A crucial swing game for the match, and Ed has been just bingoing enough to stay alive here. More than alive. He's up by 100. Yeah, Cough looks like the play. I think you guys are right. He plays Plover, keeping the Q. So QN is his leave. Oh boy, Adax for 72, a monster play from Ed, who's up by 150 now. Just a big, big lead now for Okulicz, who is looking like he's going to go 4-3. So this match has had its swings back and forth. But it looks like Ed's going to be back in front unless Amit can make a big comeback very soon. Difficult draws for Ed, but he's going to keep on scoring. 32 points for Civ here, and still that Q to deal with for Amit. 13 tiles in the bag. He'll just exchange. He trades ELQ, keeping EENR as his leave. He's down by 2 bingos, though. It's going to be very, very tough to come back. So it's looking like it's probably going to be 4-3, Ed, but we will see here. Look at that clock. 1:50 left for Ed still. He's just been playing so fast. It is hard to compete with that. All right, so out go for 12, just kind of blocking things up a little bit. It's going to be hard to bingo twice, especially after that lane is blocked. And looks like a 44-point Z play, but still more than 100-point lead. Yeah, triple through the C. There you go. Wadax, Gadax, oh, Sadax. There you go. If Dax Shepard, the actor, is sad, he's a sad Dax. All right, so Edward is still doing just fine here. And he's still got 1:22 on his clock. Just crazy how fast he's been playing. What do you do here if you are Amit? No spot for Sears, I don't believe. And he's just going to keep on fishing. Not much else you can do, I guess. All right, here you've got runless, and it's going to put you within a bingo, but that's going to be all she wrote. Final tiles getting played now, and it's going to be a 100-plus point win for Ed, it looks like. So a crucial Game 7, the swing game in this match, and we knew somebody's going to go 4-3, and it's looking like it's going to be Ed. Up by over 100 now, and your final score is Ed 512, Amit 391. A very, very important Game 7, and Ed takes it. He's up 4-3, and he needs one more win to seal the match. Can he do it? We're at about 10 minutes until the hour, so we are 10 minutes away from the next match on the schedule, which need I remind you is Chris May versus Brian Bowman with a playoff spot on the line. Cannot wait for that match. Chris versus Brian coming up next. Do not go anywhere. Excited for that one for sure. But Ed Okulicz right now is one win away from winning the match and improving to 8-0 in the tournament. Yes, Singer has most of the letters in Resigner. Very nice. Oh, the Resign gang is out in full force tonight. I love it. So just to look at the standings here, Ed is 7-0, and he is one win away from winning the match and being 8-0. He will be guaranteed a spot in the playoffs if he wins because I don't think both players can catch him. Yeah, he's definitely guaranteed a spot if he wins. So Ed is one game away from sealing the deal and locking up a spot in the playoffs. Let's go to the board. Game 8 getting started right now, and it is another opening rack bingo. Would you believe it? 80 points for Fujri, and Ed is one step closer to winning this match and being 8-0. But Paginate is available here for Amit, as well as Adapting. He does play Adapting, 65 points for that. So both players landing a pretty big punch to open here. Yeah, I'm not sure which was better there between Paginate and Adapting, but both are pretty strong options. All right, what to do here? You've got the J and the Z and the K. Lots of scoring potential here for Mr. Okulicz. Not sure what to do with them, though. I guess you could just play Jizz, just make a two-tile play of the J and the Z. Why is there a definition of Fuji on my screen? I didn't ask for that. All right, Jizz for 37 is a pretty convincing option to me, but what else is there here? Koji, yeah, that's a word. You can play Koji. All right, Jizz is the choice, 37 points for that, and Paranoia doesn't play. Is there anything that actually does play? I don't think there is. Anagram, Parano blank. Yeah, just Paranoia, and there's no open A to play with. All right, Payon, nice play, 35 points for that, wow. Overlapping the J and the Z for some easy points. So, close game here, 117-100, and it is Ed up by 17 and on turn. So what do you have here? Looking at this spot, but oh yeah, attacks, there you go. 46 points. Both players scoring very, very well. And now Velier, Levier. I don't see a spot for those, but I do see a spot for Leverate. Leverate through the T looks to be the one that actually plays. Benji spotted it too. Nice job, Benji. I don't think there's anything else, right? There is no other bingo that plays on this board. Looking around for a spot for a 7 like Velier or Levier. Looking for other 8s besides Leverate. Not seeing much. All right, neither is Amit. He plays Leverate. 72 points for that. And the first blank to Ed. I don't think there's anything through that L, but I suppose we should. Ooh, no Howish. That would be amazing. Wait, does no Howish actually play? There's no H or S, is there? All right, he just plays How. Was there anything? I was thinking about, I don't know. I guess there's nothing through the L. Huh. All right, in any event, both players scoring well. 32 for Amit and 50 for Ed with the Q. And Ed still has that blank. So pretty good spot here for Ed, up by 40, and he's got the blank on his rack. There is, of course, a second blank still unseen. So cram for 28. And ooh, nominees looks to be an option here, along with, I'm sure, many other bingos. Lemon that works. All right, so the triple for Ed should do it. He is up by 140. And that might be all she wrote for Amit's tournament. It looks like Ed has delivered the knockout punch here. Ed is leading here in game 8. He's poised to take the match 5-3, and he's poised to give Amit his third loss of the tournament. So it's looking like Edward Okulicz will advance to the bracket, joining a crowded field of very good players. Will's already qualified, Benji's already qualified, Aaron's already qualified. Looking like Ed is going to be in that group as well. So let's see. 12-point play here for Amit. Still down by a lot. Looking like Ed's got this on lockdown here. What in the world are these words? Non-nominees and men-nominees? Are these real things? Ends with nominees. Anything? Wow, men-nominees. That is crazy. All right, another bingo from Ed, just rubbing salt in the wounds here for Amit. Up by almost 180. Yeah, up by a lot of points. So just a really impressive match for Edward, as you would expect. He's been playing this well throughout the tournament, and he's playing blazing fast as well. Looking like Ed will be 8-0 in the tournament, and we will see who joins him in the playoffs. It could be Chris, it could be Brian. We will find out. Oh yeah, Aaron, thanks for reminding me that you're technically not in the playoffs, but it's statistically looking fairly likely. I'll put it that way. I believe as for Benji and Will, those guys have it on lockdown because they are both unbeaten, and everybody else in their group is a couple of losses behind them. All right, so just playing out the final tiles here in game 8, it's looking like Ed is safely ahead here, up by 109 in the pre-end game. And what do you do here? No spot for Fubsier. Just play Fub, keeping Seer. Seems fine. So very, very nice match for Ed. What else can you say? He's just been on fire, and his blazing hot run continues. This is going to be his 5th win of the match, and his, 62nd win of the tournament. He has just been winning lots and lots of games left and right. So win number 5 is in the books. Go ahead and mark that on the scoreboard, and we'll take a look at the standings in the group one more time. So Ed with his 62nd win of the tournament. He is now 62-9 overall in games, and he is 8-0 in matches, and he is confirmed in the playoffs. He cannot be caught by both Chris and Brian, who play each other coming up next. So Ed will be in the playoffs, and then most likely the winner of Chris versus Brian tonight will join him, although there are some scenarios, I suppose, where Chris loses but then comes back and wins next week to force some sort of tiebreaker. But most likely it's going to be the winner of Chris versus Brian advancing out of this group. So we shall see. A look at the schedule. It is Chris versus Brian coming up right now on this channel. One more game between Ed and Amit, and then Chris and Brian come up next. And then a whole lot more matches throughout the weekend. Looking forward to all of them. All right, back to the board. Final game for Ed and Amit. And looks like no opening bingo this time, but plenty of nice plays. Mozo for 30 looks good here for Amit, and Dada for 25 coming right back for Ed. So for Amit, it's been a pretty strong tournament. I mean, he has been winning pretty convincingly against a lot of the other players of the group besides, your top seeds, Chris and Edward, but just couldn't get it done against these top players, which is hard to fault him for. These are just very, very strong opponents. But Amit has had a pretty good run, and props to him on playing as well as he has. As for Edward, he's going to be one of the strongest competitors in the bracket of all. I mean, he has been just dominant throughout this tournament, and yeah, he's going to be tough to beat. We'll see if he can go all the way. Wouldn't bet against him. You guys can feel free to share your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win the tournament? I think that definitely Ed is up there with the very top competitors in the whole field. We'll see if he can win it, but obviously Will Anderson has been very strong as well. I think Austin Shin also has one of the best one-loss records in the whole field. So a lot of very tough players in this field. We'll see who can win. But I mean, just the combination of strong play and just blazing fast play that Ed has shown throughout this event has just made him very, very, very tough to beat. I would not bet against the guy, that is for sure. All right, so final game between Ed and Amit with Chris, May, and Brian Bowman coming up next. Doff for 23, the play here by Amit. Both players playing pretty fast here in game 9. You don't have to be good or fast to enter this tournament. You can just like be bad and slow and just have fun anyway. But no worries, Colin. All right, Savoring for 86. Big bingo from Amit. Looks like he's going to have a good shot here at salvaging a 5-4 match. It's always painful to win that game 9 just so you can lose 5-4. All right, 40-point play now from Amit, who just continues to pile on the points. Looking very, very good here for Amit, but a bingo for Ed, 75 points for Ligates. Interesting draw. What does he... I think Newcomer might play. Yeah, Newcomer from the Ed is an option here. Anything else besides Newcomer? I was looking through this A and Ligates, but that's going to be tough. Got to be a perfect fit with the A in 5th. Yeah, I might not have anything there, but yeah, Newcomer will be a nice high-scoring bingo. 78 points for that. And he does find it. Very nice. 78-point bingo of Newcomer, and Amit is ahead pretty not pretty comfortably, but a little bit comfortably. Definitely still some fighting chances here for Edward, who has got an interesting rack. He plays through the Q rack for 27, keeping a leave of EIOTW. We'll see what can be drawn with that. Going to be tough to come back, but not impossible. Look at that clock advantage. 2:03 left for Ed Okulicz, who's just been playing so fast. Only 10 seconds for Amit, plus the minute overtime. So this is the final game between Ed and Amit, and don't go anywhere. We're going to have Chris May and Brian Bowman coming up next. Looking forward to it. It looks like those guys are already underway, so we might want to switch over because we are missing a very important showdown there between Chris and Brian. So I might just call it here. Unless you guys want to watch the final turns of this match between Marvin and Taki here. Otherwise, we'll mosey along. Not a big difference either way. We're going to miss just a couple of plays either way. We are still in game 1 between Brian and Chris. It's looking like Amit's got this one. Looking like it's probably going to be 5-4. All right, I'm seeing some mosey. Okay, I'm going to mosey. That sounds good. Let's go back to the tournament room and let's go to Busker 221 and the blocker. That is Chris May and Brian Bowman, and we are in game 1. Let me, on the fly, adjust your scoreboard. We've got a score of 0 for player 1, a score of 0 for player 2. We've got a picture on your screen of not Ed Okulicz, but actually Chris May. Let's get a picture of not Amit Chakrabarti, but actually Brian Bowman. Sorry to be doing all this on the fly, but I'll be as fast as I can. All right, so Chris May, Brian Bowman. This is basically a winner-take-all match where the winner gets the spot and the loser gets nothing. Very important matchup, and We are just getting started. This is game 1 out of 9 with Brian having the early advantage here. Looks like Brian's in very good shape here in game 1, and we'll see if Chris can battle back in games 2 through 9. If you're just joining us, Edward Okulicz just won his match against Amit Chakrabarti, and he is now 8-0. Ed is in the playoffs guaranteed, and these two guys, Chris and Brian, are playing to see who can join him. So let's see here. 4-10, 3-15. It looks like Brian has got this one won for sure. Let's take a look at the Wiggles room. It looks like Amit did get the win in game 9. So it was a 5-4 victory in the match for Ed Okulicz. Let's go to the standings. I can actually just adjust this on the fly. So your records are... No, let's not do this on the air. Let's come back to it later. Let's go to the board. Let's go to the board where we are already beginning game 2 because these guys are really fast. And it is Brian Bowman 1-0 leading Chris May, and Chris is battling back here. He has the vertical opening of Fogu for 26 and a small lead early, 61-57 for Chris May here. So if you're just joining us again, it is Edward Okulicz, 8-0, going to the playoffs, and these two guys here, Chris May and Brian Bowman, playing for a chance to join him in the playoff bracket. So both players a little bit slower in this game so far than in the first one, but still pretty quick. Kind of a closed-up board, not easy to find good scoring place for either player. Yeah, keep the staircase going. There you go. Grr for 17. Both players trying to do the best they can with these tough board positions. Hamier, nice bingo there. 79 points for Hamier. I'm pretty sure that's good. Yeah. Oh, Hammy isn't overacting as an actor. Sure. Okay. Hamier for Chris May, and then Hailers for 80 points for Brian Bowman. So both players bingoing, and the board's going to open up a little bit now. You can play Jingle here if you want, keeping QU, but that would open a pretty scary triple-triple. Oh, Jangle. Very nice. 60 points for that. That's way better than Jingle. What am I doing? All right, so a nice play there by Chris, and it is now Brian playing Beefy for 51. Both players scoring very well. Chris May in the lead here. He can play Kipu to get rid of his Q and his 2 U's if he wants. That's certainly one option. Kipu here. Anything else we're seeing? Huh. Okay, yeah, Kipu does come down. 32 points for that, keeping ART a pretty good leave. And 72-point lead for Chris May. Brian has close to a bingo, but not quite. Maybe he can fish with a play of X or Dex or something. There is a way to play. I guess you could play Dex here. That's 24. That's not great. I'm not sure if there's anything better, though. Difficult position for sure. You're down by quite a bit. You want to keep your bingo options open. There really aren't very many bingo options. All right, he plays Axe, keeping DGENS. We'll see if he can bingo with that. It's going to be tough. I see Amit in the chat. Hello, Amit. Congrats on a hard-fought match coming up just short against Edward Okulicz, losing 5-4. But 5-4 is as close as anybody's come against Ed this tournament, so congrats on that. Ed has just been unstoppable throughout this event, and he continues to roll into the playoffs. All right, so a close game here, but Chris May is still up by basically a bingo lead because it's a 66-point game, and it's just going to be tough for Brian here. Yeah, 25 points per toad, and he just doesn't have very many bingo options on this board at all. It's looking like it's going to be very tough. The blocker has become the blockee, apparently. 335 to 268. Pretty low scoring, and that's just the way Chris likes it in this situation. He has got a lead, and he's just keeping Brian from coming back. Yeah, 335, 268. Ooh, Cyan, nice play. 49 points for that. But in torts comes right down. Chris May had the bingo ready to go, and he slaps it down immediately. And that should do it. 102-point lead on a dead board. Chris May looking comfortable here. Yeah, you're glad Ed wasn't in your group. That makes two of us. That would have been a terrifying two-seed to play against. Ed is. It's pretty impressive that Ed is a two-seed in his group, and he has the best record in the whole tournament. But he's still got a tough match coming up next week against Chris May, so that'll be pretty exciting to watch. The top two seeds in this tournament, in this group anyway, doing battle next week. But for Chris, you've got a do or die match right now. If you lose to Brian, you are going to fall out of the top two. So this is a crucial match for both players, a playoff spot on the line pretty much. Wow, Brian has drawn both blanks, but what do you do with them? I think he's just got nothing. I mean, what's your miracle bingo lane? Ends with lat. Anything? Strand flat. Can you fish for strand flat? Maybe. Got to fish your E, right? Oh, and your D. Well, he plays off his A, so now he can't get strand flat. Unfortunate. All right, so Chris has a lead of 71, and he's just going to keep on scoring. Blaine for 21. What's Blaine? I don't know if I knew that. A Blaine is a blister. Okay. And Brian is down by more than a bingo. Looking like... Ooh, yeah, Joel points out that you could play something ending in OUS. That's actually pretty plausible. It's like almost Idonius or... Yeah. All right. Here we go, bot. Anagram DEINOUS blank. Anything? No, sad. Yeah, that was super plausible looking. Yeah, so Brian is going to keep on looking, but he is running out of time. 15 seconds till he flags. And it's looking like it's going to be Chris May's win here in game two. We're running low on time. He plays bend side. That is not a word in the slightest. I would expect a challenge here. It does come off. All right, so Chris gets the win here in game two, and he evens the match 1-1. All right. Woogles has been updated. I will refresh at my convenience. I guess that's now. Let's refresh. All right, and we're back. 32 points to open for Twixt for 32 for Brian Bowman. Ooh, very cool hook. Twixt takes an A for a Twixt, and that comes down. 88-point play of Alienly. Very cool find by Chris May. And that's going to put him ahead. So 88-54. And it's now back to Chris May, who's got all consonants, but you can score. You can play Limmy. I think maybe Bingy there would have been better, but Limmy looks fine. And Chris, interesting. Brian draws the first blank. Hard to use that blank, though. I don't think you're going to bingo this turn. And what are you going to do this turn? There's no spot for, like, Roji. Okay, you can just play Vire, keeping your J, though. Keeping IJO blank. As far as tile synergy goes, the J and the blank are not really friends, but maybe you play through the J for one turn and then bingo the turn after that. We'll see. It's also not a great J-friendly board. All right, so is there a spot for like a Zhao or anything like that? I'm just not seeing it. This is tough. So it's Brian unturned, down by 61. He's got the blank and the J, but just what can you do with them? All right, Joist for 24. Keeping the W with that blank. The W and the blank are also not friends. Yeah, just trying to get to a bingo rack, and it's tough to do. Difficult board as well. Chris May on turn. He plays Kron, keeping NSS, and that's a good draw for Brian. He plays D1s for 79. Nice play. Ankuses is drawn by Chris May, though. Can he spot Ankuses? He can. 77 for that. Very nice. Ooh, Kwandong. Does that play? It looks like it just barely does not play, sadly. Yeah, it looks like you can fit Wandong, but not the Q. Very sad. I don't think there's any bingo that actually plays on this board. Oh, was there Kwandong through the N and the S? Oh, that would have been amazing. Oh, nice find. Yeah. Kwandong's would have played a disconnected 9. That would have been sick. All right, that is unfortunately missed, and Chris May remains up by a big bingo. 87-point lead. Probably going to see Brian bingo soon, though. What in the world is a bum freezer? What is that? All right. Oh, he had bum free. Okay, I see what you're doing there. So with the rack of bum free, also free bum, or beef rum. Ooh, tasty. Chris May plays beef. What do you play here with D horn blank? Oh, he just plays drench for 40. Keeping the blank, opening the triple triple. I'm not sure if he didn't see bingos or if he passed them up on purpose. It's an interesting choice if he passed them up on purpose because he's keeping a chance to triple triple here, and we'll see what happens. Not a good draw. Drench kept O blank, and he draws IRUUV. Pretty gross. Down by 82, and the clock is ticking away as well. Difficult spot for sure. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. You probably want to leave that triple open and just pray for something. Ooh, Chris May just keeps on scoring, though, up by 114 after playing Zoist. What do you have now? Looking like still nothing in terms of bingos, right? No spot for Atheist. No spot for any kind of 8 like Tea House or Authored or something. All right, he'll just play Azoth. And finally, Brian takes out that triple. Not that Brian had anything anyway. Looking pretty comfortable now for Chris May. Up by over 100, and Chris is taking out triples and just not letting Brian come back. Brian is over on his clock now. 35 seconds left in the game till he flags. Now 30 seconds till he flags. ZHO instead of the blank. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Could have been an option, but instead, Chris is just going to be pretty far ahead here. Brian playing few for 18, and he is still way behind. So looking like Chris May is going to go up 2-1 here. An all-important must-win match for Chris May, and so far he is not in total control, but he's going to have himself a little bit of a lead here, 2-1, in all likelihood. 2 tiles in the bag, and wow, he just empties it. Doesn't look like there's anything Brian can have, though, and he's also down by 106, so. Portugal, nice. Yeah, almost Portugal, which is sadly no good. Speaking of Europe, though, he plays Alp. All right, Addicted. Nice use of your blank, scoring 33, and that'll do it. Chris May gets the win, 436, 342, and Chris May goes up 2-1 in the match. So, pretty good start for Chris, but a long way still to go. Another look at the standings, and just so you guys know, it is a crucial, crucial match for both players. I can actually update this now. So we have an 8-0 record for Ed and a 5-3 record for Amit. And if I could just find the game records, yeah, there they are. So 62-10 is Edward, and Amit 44-28. All right, so those are your updated records. Why does that say 44-2? That's not supposed to be. Let's change that. There we go. All right. So these are your standings up to date now. And as you can see, if Brian wins, he will pass Chris. It'll be Brian 7-1 and Chris 7-1 with the worst spread. Also, Chris next week plays Edward, where Brian plays the bottom seed. So it is pretty much a certainty that if Brian wins this match, he's going to be ahead of Chris and stay ahead of Chris after next week. So basically, this is a do or die, must-win match for Chris May. And, it's really just brutal because Chris has been untouchable throughout this tournament, 7-0, and he could still just lose one match and get knocked out. It is a brutally, unforgivingly tough bracket, and Chris is going to be facing a lot of pressure if he loses this next game because he's going to be 2-2 and anything can happen. So every single game just vitally important now for Chris and Brian. They are basically playing for a playoff spot. The winner is probably going on and the loser is probably going home after week 9. So let's take a look at the board again. This was game 3 with Chris May winning 436-342. Very nice game for Chris May, who just pulled ahead with Enkeses, a nice bingo find there, and did not relinquish that lead. So we're waiting on Chris May and Brian Bowman to resume this match. We are 3 games in, and it is 2-1, Chris in the lead. Brian will need to win 4 of the last 6 if he wants to steal this match. Going to be tough to do. Then again, crazier things have happened in this event so far. We've seen lots of comebacks, we've seen lots of upsets, we've seen all sorts of stuff. Anything can happen and will happen. So it looks like we're still waiting on Chris and Brian to resume their match. In the meantime, a look at the schedule for this weekend. There is just a lot of action still to come. Looking forward to seeing all of it. Looking forward to Matthew O'Connor on his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/64bit Scrabble. Matthew's taking on Pyotr Andronowski. He is 6-1 in the Falcon group. Pyotr also 6-1 in the Falcon group. So a crucial match between Pyotr and Matthew. Really pumped for that. And then looking forward to Paul Gallen and Josh Slocum, another clash of the Titans there. Paul is 6-1. He needs to get a win to stay in first place. Just a lot of big matches tomorrow in all sorts of groups. I myself will be playing against Pete Armstrong, a crucial match for me and Pete in the Dingo group. And then Conrad and Jacob Teitelbaum, very important match there with Jacob trying to stay alive. Just all sorts of big matches all weekend long. What in the world is a Tatparusha? Apparently it is a goat skin related word. Okay. Learning all sorts of things. Tatparusha. Oh, it's not actually goat skin related. It's just related to compound words. Okay. Whatever. You guys are having fun with the bot. Glad you're enjoying it. Tatparusha. All right, so we're waiting on Chris May and Brian Bowman to resume their match. It is currently 2-1, Chris in the lead. Just another look at the standings in this group. Edward Okulicz is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs after a win tonight against Amit Chakrabarti. Edward is 8-0, and he's 62-10 in games, which I believe Will said matched his own record of 62-10. Congrats to Will on a phenomenal run as well. Will is 8-0, 62-10 in the Emu group. Can't wait to see Will against Benji next week, as well as Edward against Chris in this group next week. A couple of groups where the top seeds have been dominant and they play each other next week. Even if everybody's already in the playoffs, it'll still be fun to watch those guys do battle. Still waiting on Brian and Chris. Not sure what's going on with those guys. Just going to check out the Wiggles room. It looks like they're playing and Wiggles didn't tell me. Oh, man. Come on, Wiggles. Step your game up. All right. So not sure what that was about, but Wiggles did not load the game, unfortunately. Oh, I think maybe these guys, I think somebody logged off of Wiggles and logged back on because this is looking like it's a whole new match. So I guess that's why Wiggles didn't update with, okay, so we apparently missed quite a few turns, unfortunately. I think this is still game 4. I don't think we missed an entire game or anything, but I can check on that. Yeah, I think what happened was They played 3 games, and then somebody got disconnected or something, and then they resumed with an entirely new match. But okay, the score is correct. It is 2 games to 1. We didn't miss a game. And this is game 4 between Chris and Brian, and it is Chris in the lead, 340 to 305. And Chris gets down over lies for 86. Okay, a big play there by Chris. And it looks like Chris May is going to win here in game 4. So I'm not sure if that was a Woogles issue or an issue with the connection of either Chris or Brian, but in any event, we are back, and we missed basically an entire game that Chris May looks poised to win. It looks like most likely Chris May will be up 3 games to 1 over Brian Bowman here. Brian is down by a lot of points. What's that? 89. Down by 89 with 4 in the bag. What can he fish for? Anything? Looking like it's going to be tough. Yeah, not seeing much that Brian can do here. Clock is getting pretty low as well. He's about to go over by his first 3 minutes. Okay, plays Kerf. 56-point game now. But there's not much in the pool that Brian can draw. Yeah, he draws weird stuff, and he's going to go over on his clock as well, it looks like. So it's a 93-point advantage for Chris here in the pre-end game, and nothing really to be done for Brian Bowman. All right, Chris is going to get the win here in game 4, and he's going to be 3-1. Your final score is 481 to 390. Chris gets the win in game 4, and he's up 3-1. So Chris May getting closer and closer to guaranteeing himself a spot in the playoffs. All right, game 5 starts now. Getting pretty close to do or die territory for Brian, who is in a tough spot now. 18-point play of XI to open. Brian does have a blank and a J and an S. Very interesting rack. And, ooh, he's got bingos, I see. Injera's. Is there anything through the D? I don't think there is. Hey, bot, what do you got for me? Anagram, Jadeers, blank. Oh, Jaderies, that's a word. Good call. Oh, Jemadars. All right, there's multiple things. I'm just blind. All right. Jemadars for 80. Nice play. Although Jaderies would have been even better, huh? All right. Delabate for 76 from Chris. And what do we think of re-roller? Probably not good, right? Does sound vaguely familiar, though. Oh, re-roller is good. Wow. Sad. All right. Roller for 18 instead. Hard to be sure of re-roller. That is a tough one. All right. So close game now. Chris unturned down by 16. Starts with Delabate. It takes a D and an S. Okay, so there are possible plays there. All right, big bingo for Chris May here. Courting for 86 and the lead. 80 points ahead now. Crucial spot for Brian. Does not want to be down 4-1, but he's behind by 80 points. He's got to come back now. What do you play here? There is a spot for the H. You could do something like hey. And you could try to... Oh, yeah, Hey there is pretty good, too. 34 points for Hey. He keeps EENP. Hoping to draw bingo soon, I'm sure. Long way to go, though. Still 42 tiles in the bag. A lot can still happen. It is now a 46-point lead for Chris May, and he's on turn. And he's got pretty good tiles to just keep on scoring with. Probably not going to bingo anytime soon, but that's okay. Half for 31. And I don't think that is anything for Brian. You could just play pronged if you want to blow up the rack, but are you getting enough compensation for your rack there? I mean, that's only, what, 30 points? Not great. Is there anything better, though? G-Pound would have played, but it makes UD. Can't do that. All right, Dot for 29, not bad. Keeping a lead of G-E-E-N, Gene. You might have to Hope for a very good draw to bingo at that, but it's not impossible. There's lanes like through this R maybe. Ooh, not if you draw the Q, there's nothing. Okay. Probably Quep here. Quep looks pretty strong. That would be 33. Ooh, he exchanges. I don't think so. I think Quep is way better. But wow, so Brian scores 0 on that turn, and he's down by 66. And ooh, Ruinated is probably going to ruinate Brian's tournament. Jermaine's, though, bingoing right back. He's going to keep this close, but then, ooh, another big play. Chris May just keeps scoring. 69 for QINS, and that should do it. It looks like Chris is going to be 4-1. Chris May getting closer and closer to the playoffs here. Looking like he's going to be 1 win away. So what do you do here for Brian? You're down by 106. You are going to need to bingo twice, and it is a tough board on which to do so. You also have a cue that you'd like to play with, but there's no word here, right? There's no, like, if you could play something like quote, but that's not a word. Yeah, I don't know what you do. All right, he plays Opa, and Chris May just keeps on scoring points. Toy on for 33, and he is just way ahead here. So Chris is going to get this win, and it's going to be his 4th of the match as he draws closer to the playoff berth here. Let's see here. Chris has Nakfa, Fava, all sorts of words, but on this board, where do they go? It's just hard to find a spot. He plays K for 28. That seems fine, and it's a 120-point game. It's all just bookkeeping from here, as Chris is going to win for sure his 4th game of the match. So we have seen comebacks before from down 4-1, but it is hard to do, especially against one of the best players in the world, which Chris May is. Tall order for Brian. Can he come back with his tournament on the line? We will find out. All right, final score is Chris May 491, Brian Bowman 383. Chris gets the win, and it is his 4th of the match. So 4 games left, and Brian must win them all. Very tough to do. If you're just joining us, here's where we're at in the Buffalo group. Edward Okulicz earlier tonight beat Amit Chakrabarti. He is now 8-0. Edward will advance to the playoffs, and Amit will not. And then as for the second spot, it's between Chris and Brian, and it's on the line right now with Chris playing Brian and Chris leading 4-1. So Chris May is 1 game away from winning and joining his good friend Edward Okulicz in the playoffs. We'll see if Chris can finish the job. Chems for 36 to open. Must-win game for Brian Bowman, and he's got any word, but I believe that doesn't take an S, right? Oh, it's nay words? Is any word just not a thing? For some reason, I thought any word was a word. Sad. Ooh, okay, so he plays roadway instead. A small miss there, but he does get 56 for it. Ooh, he blocked Equipage, unfortunately for Chris. You can't just play any word. Yeah. All right, so despite Equipage being blocked, Chris just keeps on scoring. And Appaloons does come down the following turn, so nice bingo there. And Chris has the lead, but Edental doesn't play, it looks like, but I see End Plate. I see Unelated. There are bingos available here for Brian Bowman. Can he spot one? He's down by 63, so any of these bingos will put him ahead by a little bit. He does find Unelated. And what does Chris have in response? I don't think there's a bingo here, but there's surely all sorts of scoring options. I mean, just how is a lot of points. Like how here, if I could type properly, it's 37, keeping a good lead as well. Is there anything better than how? Tell me what I'm missing, chat. Oh, how with the E on the end. That's, yeah, more points and more defensive. Very nice. And interesting draw for Brian. I don't think he's got a bingo. Is there any kind of like itis word? I don't think so. Like spinitis, like inflammation of the spine. That is not a word. I'm making that up. All right, he just plays inside. Nice play. Takes out that triple, scores pretty well, and keeps a good lead of IST. Oh, and it blocks Riparian. No, just kidding. It still plays. Riparian does still play. So that is the bingo here for Chris. Can he spot it? Not the easiest word in the world to see, but if he does see it, he's going to be in a commanding spot here. If you find Riparian, there is light at the end of the tunnel. You can see the playoffs from here after Riparian. Ooh, okay, he misses it. Aired for 14, big miss. That'll breathe new life into this tournament for Brian Bowman here. Fiat's for 39, and he's got a good shot to win this game. It's going to be close. Let's see. No spot for Carnier. No spot for Carnier, I don't think. I don't think there's a bingo here. What am I missing? Yeah, not seeing much. All right, just Carr, keeping a balanced lead here for Brian, or for Chris. Very close game. Chris up by 8, Brian on turn. Brian with a pretty bad rack. What can you do with these tiles? It's tough. All right, Touty for 36, keeping II as your leave. Ooh, good draw for Chris, I think. Archines. Yeah, Archines looks like a good play. Ooh, Touty comes off. That's right. Not a word. So Chris challenges off the phony and plays Archines. He's up by 100 now. So Chris May is on the verge of the playoffs here. Can he close this out? 100-point lead. That might be all she wrote for Brian's tournament. Let's see here. What can you do? Don't play Touty again. There's just not much. I guess you could play just Yite? I don't know. That seems pretty terrible. Not a lot of options here. You could play Tuition, keeping the Y. Yeah, he just plays Yite. That seems fine. And Chris is going to keep scoring. Man for 36. Very nice. Oh, geez. Just a brutal draw. Just not working out here for Brian. He just exchanges. He's hoping a triple, I'm sure. And, of course, Chris will block that. So Chris May is on his way to the playoffs, it looks like. So G's comes down for 39. What is Gare? It doesn't look familiar at all to me. A triangular piece of cloth or land. Okay. Cloth or land. Very vague word. All right. Fog for 30. And Brian is just struggling here. Scored only 282 with 5 tiles in the bag. Looking like it's going to be a pretty lopsided win here for Chris May in Game 6. Anything here for Brian? I'm not seeing a bingo from the N and the T and font. Yeah, there's just not much to be done here. So, yeah, this is just a rough go of it for Brian Bowman, who definitely had his chances to make the playoffs, but has gotten pretty badly stumped here tonight by Chris. Looking like it's going to be 5-1. And Brian gets down Poetizer, but it is too little too late. Your final score is 481-361, a pretty decisive win for Chris May, his 5th of the match. So congratulations to Chris May. It is official. Chris is going on to the playoffs, as is Edward. The 2 Aussies will advance from the Buffalo group. A look at the standings here. Chris just got the win moments ago. He is now 8-0 in matches. You know, I knew immediately when we drew the groups for this tournament that it was going to be pretty tough to compete with Edward and Chris, but I did not know that they would be a combined 16-0 at this point in the tournament. The 2 Aussies have just dominated from wire to wire, and they both will advance to the playoffs. So congrats, Ed. Congrats, Chris. Just an incredible run. And Now we're just playing for seeding. It is just going to be between Chris and Ed who gets the 1 seed, who gets the 2 in this group, and it is, of course, a very close race between the 2 right now. So back to the board. If I could click on the right button, sorry about that. There's the board, and there is the board so far with Chris leading 30-20. So a brief word about the playoff bracket. Basically, 2 players, of course, advance from each group into the playoffs. And if you are a 1 seed in your group, meaning if you finish first in your group, you will play a 2 seed in the first round of the playoffs. So it is to your advantage if you are somebody like Chris May or at Okulicz to get the 1 seed from your group, because you'll get an easier pairing in the first round. All of the 1s play 2s in the first round. So if you want to avoid one of the very top players like a Will or an Austin or somebody like that, the way to avoid those players is to finish first and not second in your group. And so because of that, every game counts for Chris and Ed now. They're going to be playing for a spot in the playoffs, and so every game counts. But in any event, we will see what Brian here can do to play spoiler. And right now, it is a close game here in game 7 with Chris up by a little bit, 47-43. So Trailer doesn't play, or does play, but not for very many points. And Rattlier is the choice from Brian Bowman. 61 points for Rattlier. Ooh, what is this? Beetling, I think, is a word. Also Bilgiest, very nice. 70 points for Bilgiest. And fun stuff here. The J and both M's. Jammier, I believe, is good. You could play Jammier. I guess just Jammer is better. Keep a vowel and don't open. Well, you're opening pretty big scoring plays either way. So Jammier and Jammer both have their risks, but probably you got to play one of those, I think. What else is there? Oh, you can play Jimp. All right, so a defensive play from Brian. That's why they call him the blocker. Pretty blocked up board so far, I guess. I mean, for a board with 2 bingos on it, I guess. Yeah, Jimp definitely more of a closed play than something like Jammier would have been, but both are interesting choices for sure. Close game here, 135-117. Chris May down by a little bit, but Chris May is on turn. A lot of vowels here. Looking for a way to score reasonably well with them, and it's tough to do. You probably don't want to play something, stupidly open like, UI here. What can you do that's more reasonable than that? You could do like video. That keeps ENU. Not great. All right, he just plays Euro for 4 points. Wow. So both players are unafraid to enter a closed board situation because Jimp followed by Euro is going to keep things pretty well blocked up. And Peg for 20, also not creating any openings. So Emodyne here. Would expect that to come down. Wait, Emodyne's not a word. What am I saying? It's Dominese. You know what I meant. Domine comes down. All right. So Brian takes the lead up by 80. And Trolled will not play anywhere. No spot for really anything. Yeah, so Told for 27, just going as much as he can with a not very point-heavy rack. Not bad. So both players kind of playing through some difficult racks here. And both players getting a little bit low on time. 39 seconds for Chris, 105 for Brian, with still a lot of tiles to go. Yeah, Wig for 33. I believe Balti doesn't take an S, or maybe it does. I don't know. Balti's? Oh, it is good. Okay. Ooh, it's a spicy Indian dish. I bet it's tasty. So you do have the S hook on Balti. And now Dev is going to open another spot. So person plus a 7th tile will probably lead to a bingo here for Chris. Brian is on turn up by 41. Sheffield is the Balti capital of the world. That is good to know. What is Balti? I'm very curious. Is it tasty? All right, 41 points for Ziaz. Scoring well and blocking the spot that Chris just opened, but 49 points for Pone. Nice scoring play. Keeping this pretty close. It's a 33-point game. And whoever hits that Balti spot with the bingo first could win this game. Chris is definitely still alive to win it. Yep, Aqua is indeed played, just unloading vowels and scoring 26 for Brian. 59-point lead. What do you have here? This looks interesting. I don't think there's anything like shares. Wow, there's no 7s or 8s. Ooh, Balti is curry. Okay, I like that. I should make Balti sometime. Oh, I'm Googling Balti and it looks delicious. I'll definitely make some Balti sometime. All right, back to the game. 33-point deficit now for Chris, who's running low on time. Looks like no spot for Deister, right? Like Deister almost plays, but it makes EO. And it almost plays here, but it makes Deister dough. All right, 26 points for Day. Fishing for that bingo. Can he get it? Looking for any. Oh, wow, a great draw. Antra's blank, and Chris is going to bingo here. Ranters for 65 in the lead, but it might not be enough. It's going to be a close endgame here. Brian's got Sunnier, Unrisen, no spot for those. It looks like Chris is going to win this, I think, actually. I don't think there's a way to score enough. Runes, how much is Runes? Runes would be 27, and he would still come up short, yeah. So it looks like Chris, with the late bingo of Ranters, will survive this one. He played Day, keeping ERST, and he drew AN blank, just the God draw, just perfect. A very fortunate bingo, and both players kind of scrambling here for time at the end. Your final score is Chris made 425, Brian Bowman 401. Brian gets his 6th win of the match, or sorry, Chris gets his 6th win of the match. So, cool game. Chris just fights to the very end and then just sneaks out the win in the end with a fortunate draw late for the bingo. All right, 2 more games now between Chris and Brian, and then I'm going to sign off for the night. I will be back tomorrow night with plenty more Scrabble, so look forward to that. A little look at the schedule here. We're going to have James against Chi-Meng Lee on his channel at 2 p.m. GMT. I believe that is, 10 a.m. James' local time in Central? No, that's 9 a.m. And then after that, Cesar against Roland. And then later in the afternoon, we're going to have Matthew O'Connor against Piotr Andrzejowski on Matthew's channel, twitch.tv/64-bit Scrabble. Looking forward to Piotr and Matthew. That is a very important match. Both players are 6-1. And the other player 6-1 in that group is Paul Gowan, and Paul plays against Josh Sokol on Josh's channel. That's going to be a great match as well. We're going to have Benji against Ricky. Benji against Ricky on both Benji and Ricky's channels. And then a triple header tomorrow night, at least tomorrow night U.S. time, as I take on Peter Armstrong, and then Conrad against Jacob, and Andrew against Hubert. 3 very important matches. I can make the playoffs if I win tomorrow. Conrad can make it if he wins tomorrow, and Andrew can make it if he wins tomorrow. All 3 players looking to lock down a spot in the playoffs where they win. So a lot is on the line for all of us. It's going to be a very, very big day of games for all of us. Looking forward to all of that. All right. Not sure what's going on with the Woogles tournament room. Looks like we're still waiting on looks like there was a brief code deploying that says what to do for Woogles in the middle of the game. That's very strange. All right. We are back, and we're going to have game number 8 starting right now. Okay. So apparently Cesar was updating the Woogles code in the middle of the game, and he had to, had to do some kind of update. But in any event, we are beginning now with game number 8, and it is an opening bingo from Brian of Uranite 466. So what do you do here if you're Brian? After a play of G, There is no C for flincher. I don't think there are any other bingos available. He just plays Fe for 23. Oh yeah, Fern and Jer, that would have been nice, yeah. All right, Minter is a nice play with some overlaps there for 75 by Chris. And what do you do now? A lot of one-pointers. I guess 1 2-pointer with the D, but not a lot of scoring potential here. All right, Remind. Nice play by Brian, just scoring as much as you can in that triple lane. And now a similarly tough rack to score with for Chris May here. We need an L for Colonial. Probably some other bingos as well. A T for Location, but nothing playable on this board, I don't think. How do you play through it? Maybe just something like Cool. That seems pretty lame. Only 23 points. But I'm not sure what's really much better here. Difficult spot for Chris to score well. He does play Cool. 23 for that, keeping AIN as a leave. And, ooh, he draws more vowels and a W. Not a great draw for Chris here. What can you do with it? Maybe you play something like, I guess, a now is an option. 32 points for that. Try to draw some consonants to your lead of AIO. Is there anything better than just a now? Oh, he plays nowy. Okay, getting rid of more vowels, but scoring less. So now he keeps AOW. Opposite problem for Brian, too many consonants. He plays blue using his one vowel, keeping DNX. And Chris draws the first of the two blanks. So that's a fortunate draw for Chris, who's down by 38 points, battling through some difficult racks. He plays Ala for 32. Nice scoring play, keeping ILO blank. And Brian now in turn. Brian has an X, and it is tough to do much with the X here. What do you do? I guess just Cox from the C as an option. There's not really a spot for like Docs or anything. I guess Docs and G for 23. Oh, Redox. There you go. 26 points for Redox to Docs again. That's not actually what it means, but whatever. All right, what do you have here? This looks close to something, but maybe not quite a bingo. All right, just Loaf keeping AI blank. Chris has scored well, but there's the bingo from Brian with just the natural Tyson U. He gets Sinuate for 83 and the lead. And difficult draws continuing for Chris, who's got the blank, but just not much to go with it. No spot for like Gonidia or anything. I just don't see much you can do with this. Tough position. So you're down by 81 now, and you want to keep your options open to bingo, not just any bingo, but preferably a higher scoring one if you can. How do you do it? You just play Sig. Okay, Sig keeps ADIO blank. And ooh, Purdy with 48 keeping the blank. Just a monster play for Brian. Yeah, drawing that blank was a big help for him. It looks like Brian's in very good shape now to win this game. Chris is going to score what he can and try to stay within striking distance, but it's going to be tough to come back as Brian has the other blank. And what can Brian do here? Probably no bingo. He just plays Gable. Seems fine. And what can Chris do? Looks like still no bingo, I don't think. Yeah, this is tough. Very tough. All right, just Poe for 21. Both players with a blank, but just both players struggling to find any bingo with that blank. Awkward draws for both of them. For Chris to have any chance, he needs to bingo, and he needs for Brian not to bingo. Wow, Brian draws terrible. Chris opens the triple, and Brian just can't really use the spot at all. Do you consider burning your blank to block the spot? You could play like Dirks or something. No, he leaves it open, and here we go. What does Chris have? Danciest, distance, maybe nothing. He could play distance. It's not a triple, but it is a lot of points. He's low on time. He's at 14 seconds, 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds. Got to play something fast. He plays Deontics. He's down by 18 still. It's Brian's turn. One in the bag. I don't think Chris can draw a bingo here. Can he just outrun without a bingo? It's going to be hard. 7 seconds. 6, 5. He plays Hero for 27. He's going to come up short. I think Brian's going to win. But yeah, just a crazy late game situation where Chris opens the triple and Brian just can't block it with a terrible rack. The bingo of Deontics is not enough, and Brian holds on to win. 451 to 390 is your final, and my laptop's going to freeze for a second. Ooh, synthetic. That almost triples, but yeah, not quite. All right, so your score in the match was 6-1. It is now 6-2 as Brian narrows the gap a little bit. And the ninth and final game comes up right now with Brian to open, and Brian holding almost a bingo type rack. Needs an R for hairline. If you're going second, you could hope for that, but he's going first. So what do you do here? Tough position. You could just play like Ahi, keeping line, hope to bingo later. Oh, he plays long. Okay, just a longer play of Inhale. 20 points for that, and Chris has the Z with the hotspot open for it now. You could do, actually there's no word in that Z hotspot, except for ZO, which would keep FNTVW as a leave. Probably don't want to do that. All right, just WAF for 29 from Chris. So 29 to 20 game, and probably QI to come here. QI does come down, 26 for that. And there is the blank. Wow, Nerds keeping the blank. 51 points keeping the blank. Monster play for Chris. And now what? No real spot for outdo, I don't think. All right, just Todd for 26 for Brian. But good situation here for Chris May. He's got the first blank. Not the easiest board here. Not a lot of, well, there's some spots, but no spot to play like a word like KV or anything. What do you do here if you're Chris? You're probably trying to angle for a bingo next turn if you can, but where do you put your V or your Y? It's tough to do. I guess you could just do like Viney. Oh, that's what he does. Okay, Viney for 14. Seems pretty reasonable. Outlawed, nice extension of odd, playing off your OUTL. Caterin comes down, 73 for that, and not a very good draw for Brian, who's suddenly behind by 71 and holding a pretty weird rack. He plays Rift for 21. Brian doing a nice job playing off awkward duplicated tiles and scoring pretty well with them, but he is behind by 50. And Chris has an obvious Vox play here, or Vex. He does play Vex, keeping EHO blank. So Chris bingos with one blank and draws the other blank. Very fortunate game so far for Chris, as he's gotten both blanks and he's in position to take a pretty big lead if he can bingo again. Already up by 96, 94, whatever that is. 94. And Toothier comes down right away. Boy, just a monster bingo for Chris, 92. And he's up by over 150 now. So Chris May looking poised to win this match 7-2, it looks like. Just an impressive run for Chris. All right, so what can be done here? Not too much, I'm thinking. You do have a bingo, I believe. Is it, I can never remember the word in this. Is it Giusted? I think it's Giusted, yeah. But no spot for that, I don't believe. All right, ripe for 27. Nice scoring play by Chris, who is up by a whole heck of a lot, 162. cutesy is the word on Brian's rack now, but no spot for that either, I don't think. Looking like Chris is going to be comfortably ahead for the time being. Miracle comeback's looking pretty unlikely. So if Chris May finishes this one off, he's going to win 7-2 in this match, and he will be 8-0 for the tournament. The undefeated run for both Aussies, Chris May and Okulicz, continues this weekend as these two guys just can't be stopped. They are both playoff bound, and we'll see how they do. They are both going to be pretty strong contenders to win this thing when it comes down to it. Just playing out the final game here between Chris and Brian, with Brian getting pretty low on time. Still 22 tiles in the bag now after he plays wins for 20. And rebases doesn't appear to play anywhere, I don't think, but Chris just keeps on scoring and balancing. And not a very good draw for Brian. He gets 43 for the J, but his leave is E, 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 I, I. Yeah, all 5 vowels. Not great. So Brian is not drawn very well this match, but Chris has also played extremely well and earned the victory for sure. Just impressive work by Chris, and he is poised to improve to 8-0. We will finish this one out, and we'll take a quick look at the standings and the schedule and all of that, and we will wrap this thing up. I want to thank all you guys for joining us. Hope you guys are enjoying the content this weekend and throughout the Blitz Championship these last few weeks. It's been a lot of fun bringing you these games. Hope you guys are all enjoying them. All right, Yaremik for 36, and Brian is going to score pretty well, but it is too little too late. Chris is fishing for a bingo because he's mean like that. I don't think he drew anything. Regulas, there's no word in that. Not that it matters because the blocker is going to block anyway. All right, playing out the final tiles, and your final score in the final game is Chris May 458 and Brian Bowman 335. So your final score in the match is Chris May 7, Brian Bowman 2. So congrats to Chris on the victory, and congrats to Chris on advancing to the playoffs. Let's go to the Buffalo group standings. We can just update these on the spot, I believe, if I could find the right. There it is. Okay. So we get a win for Chris. He improves to 8-0. A loss for Brian, and he falls to 6-2. And then we go to the game records, and it is a 7-2 win for Chris. So he goes to, if I could do math, 59-13. Whereas Brian falls to 53-19. Check my math on that. I think that's right. And so here are your standings. It is Ed 8-0, Chris 8-0. Both guys have clinched a spot in the playoffs. And then next week, Ed will play Chris, and the winner of that match will get the 1 seed in this group. The loser will get the 2. And both guys will advance to the bracket of 16 with a chance to become the World Blitz Scrabble champion. So congrats to Ed, congrats to Chris, and congrats to Brian and Amit both on a very hard-fought tournament. Brian and Amit both had their chances to make the playoffs, but they come up just a little bit short, as Edward and Chris cannot be stopped. So that is your playoff picture in the Buffalo group. Edward and Chris will advance. A look at the schedule this weekend. A lot of people here have not yet advanced. So a lot of people here are playing for a spot in the playoffs. You see Austin Shin. If he wins tomorrow, he is in the playoffs. You see Piotr Andrzejowski and Matthew O'Connor. They are both 6-1. The winner of that match will be in a pretty good position. And then you've got Dave Wiegand. He is undefeated. If he wins, he is in. Paul Gallen is 6-1. If he wins, he's going to be in a pretty good spot. Chris Grubb is 6-1. If he wins, he's in a good position. Benji is already in the playoffs, I think, at 7-0, but just going for a little win for good measure. You've got myself, Evans Clinchy. I'm playing Pete Armstrong. I believe if I win, I'm going to be in a pretty good spot to make the playoffs as well. And then Conrad is 7-0. If he wins, he is in. Andrew Fisher is 7-0. If he wins, he is in. I believe Anand is already in for the most part, but I guess there's some disaster scenarios where he loses by a lot against Weibin. So just a lot of players here with a chance to make the playoffs, and it's going to be a very, very important match for a lot of guys tomorrow. So looking forward to all these matchups. It's going to be a lot of fun. I see Edward is in the chat and he is repeating that he cannot be stopped. That is the unstoppable Ed himself. Congrats to Ed on the win. He is just rolling through this tournament so far, but a very tough match coming next week as Ed plays Chris head to head. Looking forward to that for sure. All right, I'm going to sign off and have a nice evening with no screens for a little bit. And I'm going to find somebody to raid here on Twitch. Let's go play some chess, guys. I think we all enjoy chess, right? All right. Let's send a raid in the direction of Chessbra. Always enjoy his stream. All right, let's do that. Want to thank you guys one more time for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the content throughout the weekend. Hope you guys are going to be tuning in again tomorrow night as we have more Scrabble coming your way. Until then, I'm going to sign off. Have a nice night, guys.